At the beginning of September, Lyft announced that priority mode would be available to all drivers. It would no longer just be a perk of Lyft driving rewards. While it is still a terrible feature in most markets, here in Minnesota, it's a different case. Let's discuss. Alright, so really quickly again, what is priority mode? They say that when you turn on priority mode, you'll get matched with more rides. But they also say that you'll earn less per ride in priority mode, but you should earn more overall because you'll get more rides. So it keeps you busier, which is a good thing, but it pays you less per ride in order to keep you busier. And we drivers are essentially operating small businesses. We're not just looking at our hourly rate, we're also looking at our bottom line. So if we're getting paid less per ride, we're less profitable overall. So yeah, that hourly rate can go up, but if we're less profitable, this makes no sense at all. So why is Lyft expanding this perk to everyone now? They probably looked at the numbers and they're seeing that they're a lot more profitable on these priority mode rides. Now in most markets, you should want to avoid Lyft priority mode like the plague. You should just be logged into both Lyft and Uber at the same time, but here in Minnesota, it's a different story. We're actually paid guaranteed rates of $1.28 per mile and 31 cents per minute during period 3 when transporting a passenger. So we are guaranteed earnings at those rates no matter what the upfront fare is. So here we actually want to look at that period 3 distance, and we also want to keep the period 2 pickup mileage as short as possible. We're not paid for that mileage. So with Lyft priority mode, it doesn't matter what those upfront fares are if they're a little bit lower than regular rides. We know that we're going to get paid a guaranteed rate for those rides no matter what. So the busier we stay, the better, because we're getting paid to those guaranteed rates. And my utilization rate, at least for me personally, is down substantially here in Minnesota. I drive on Mondays and Tuesdays, and there are a lot less ride requests because of all the drivers that are now on the road here. So I'm looking for any way to stay busier, and using Lyft priority mode is one of those ways. So I've actually used priority mode here in Minnesota for 45 hours over the last 5 weeks, about 9 hours per week. I also did some analysis, so let's take a look. Alright, so first, without priority mode back in August, I was driving 15 hours per week for both companies. I gave 65 total rides in August with Lyft and 54 with Uber, pretty close. About 16 rides per week with Lyft and 14 rides per week with Uber. And my utilization, which is booked time versus online time, it was 34% on Lyft and 32% on Uber. Now in September and the beginning of October, where I have been utilizing Lyft priority mode, online hours per week are still pretty similar, 16 hours per week on Lyft, 13 hours per week on Uber, but I've given 101 total rides on Lyft compared to 50 on Uber. That's 20 rides per week on Lyft versus 10 rides per week on Uber. Also, my utilization on Lyft is 40% now, and my utilization on Uber is probably as low as it's ever been. It's only 23%. So overall, with priority mode, it's keeping me busier, and it's also keeping me locked into Lyft over Uber. And yes, under priority mode, you're open to more requests, but the pickup distance is not drastically different. I had an average pickup distance of 1 mile under priority mode versus an average pickup distance of a half a mile under regular requests. So the pickup mileage is literally double for a priority mode request versus a regular request, but on average, a half a mile versus just a mile, that's not a big deal to me. But for you drivers in most markets that don't have guaranteed rates, that pickup mileage is another thing that you need to look at in terms of your bottom line. Not only are you getting paid less per ride, but you're having to drive further distance to pick up your passengers. Also, again, overall here, my utilization is down significantly, pre-guaranteed rates versus post-guaranteed rates, but that does not matter as much. I'm still making right around $30 per hour before expenses because of the guaranteed rates. Yes, I would love to be busier and for that utilization rate to be a lot higher, but I will take getting guaranteed pay over being busier. So here in Minnesota, we are a great market for those drivers that want to use priority mode, but in all other markets where you don't have guaranteed rates, you don't want to use priority mode at all. Here in Minnesota, I look at it as a way for Lyft to keep me locked into their platform over Uber's, but in all other markets without guaranteed rates, it's a way for Lyft to take more while giving drivers less. But what do you guys think? Are you utilizing priority mode in your market, or are you completely avoiding it like I did before we were paid guaranteed rates here in Minnesota? Again, priority mode can be utilized effectively by drivers here in Minnesota where we have guaranteed rates, but in all other markets without guaranteed rates, it's a race to the bottom for drivers. If you've yet to download the Solo app to help you manage your rideshare business and earn more, our referral link is in the description. We also have a free newsletter, and the link to sign up for that is in the description as well. If you've yet to watch my previous video on some analysis I did on what percentage of passengers actually tip, be sure to check that one out. Thanks again for watching, and drive safe. Thanks.